Kinsale was the perfect place to make landfall after a rough 10-day passage. Cutest town, friendliest people, very helpful, and had everything that we need to kind of get refreshed and in order, along with some exploration while we've been here for the past 3 days. So now we are heading out to explore yonder. We have a 30-hour sail ahead of us, which so crazily is like nothing. We just decided yesterday, yeah, let's leave in 30 hours, no biggie. And I guess having been at sea for 30 days out of the last 50 days will certainly do that to you, because mentally it just doesn't feel like it's that long, which is nice.
We're Steph and Travis, Canadians who didn't know much about sailing. We didn't let that or a global pandemic stop us from living our dreams, and we've been winging it ever since. We took off from Toronto and made it to Grenada in year 1, and we've got no plans on stopping. Subscribe to join our life on the water. Thanks to our patrons who keep the dream going.
It's going to be a really comfortable sail. We are going 6 to 7 knots in 13 knots wind, so no complaints. Only heeled at 4 degrees, so it is super comfortable. And yeah, I think we can handle this.
So far, so good. I worry that it's not for like 60 miles though, but we gotta make a harder left turn, so we might be pretty close into it, but if there's no sea state, we should be flying up there if there's no sea state. So, could be good.
Yeah, it feels good so far.
You know, I just don't like jinx anything.
Oh yeah. He's got a history of that, doesn't he?
So we decided to head up, and it was anywhere from 8 to 12 knots of wind, it was saying, but it was coming off the land. And I know there's a lot of shallow banks along the Irish Sea, and if you go with the wind, and if you get into a spot that you're against current, it could be a bit rough, is what the local guy at the Kinsale Yacht Club said. So I was like, oh, okay, so if we had a chance to take an offshore breeze, it should keep the sea state really comfortable. And in lower winds, like I said before, you should be able to go faster because you're not having to go through waves. So we took the chance, and so far so good.
Gimbal had no issue with this big pot of chowder that I made. My first attempt at seafood chowder. Tastes pretty good, and we definitely need soups in this chilly weather that we're in now. Yeah, calm sail, happy that I was able to do this while underway. See, it's lovely.
This is a fabulous sail.
You're keeping watch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poke my head up. Under the weather.
Feels under the weather. This Caribbean Canadian doesn't like the chilliness. Sailors don't get sick. Remember we were saying that? Sailors don't get sick.
No, maybe we just took too much of a dramatic change. It gave me the sniffles.
So another nice thing about this sail, and it's such a small thing to probably everybody except for us. 30 hours we're anticipating, and we're gonna have internet for probably all or most of it, if anything, because we're hugging the coast. We're able to get some 3G internet, so that's a bonus. We're able to, I don't know, Google whatever and feel kind of connected. Feels a little bit safer as well. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's just the little things that probably, again, don't mean much, or it's just small, but to us, it's kind of cool. It's like something that we haven't gotten for a while. It's just fabulous. And these are the ones that are few and far between. So, gotta soak it in. Ended up making a second batch of soup today.
Yeah, you're on it today. I feel a little stuffy and achy. I think it's from the crossing. Just the climate adjustment, and then I guess the higher stress.
It's true what they say. Guys can take anything and be all tough, but when it comes to a cold, baby.
I'm a wimp. But thanks for making me soup and tea.
Although it hasn't been too long since we've done a night watch, just a few days or so, it's far different this time around doing coastal sailing, We haven't done coastal overnight passages for quite a while. I would say since the east coast of the States, out in the ocean. If you see a light, you'd be like, okay, what's that? You'd periodically look out to see if you did see a light. But here along the coast, there are obviously lights everywhere, so you really have to pay attention. Out in the Atlantic, when you'd see a light, it was normally another vessel. But here, there are lights everywhere. Like, we're coming up to a flashing buoy in the middle here that we have to make sure we stay clear of. And then there is shipping traffic, but they're pretty good about it. There's a shipping lane, whereas in the Atlantic, they're fewer and far between, but they can go any which way direction, like cross diagonally in front of you or whatnot. Just past the flashing buoy here. And then there will be banks, like right here along our path. It's a little shallower. So ideally we want to go on the inside of it, but depending on if the wind keeps at our beam and the current doesn't get too high, then we can go on the inside. Otherwise, we'll have to go on the outside because we might get pushed over to it anyway, depending on how strong that current is. But right now it looks like it's only 1.3 knots. But if it gets any stronger than that, or if the winds change, then we might end up getting pushed out anyway, so we'll have to see what the conditions are as we get closer to the bank. Speaking of different things to pay attention to now that we're along the coast, the wind just completely died, and Travis had come up. We were both kind of looking at the instruments, and I guess in the midst of doing that, and trying to figure out what we were going to do, turn on the motor, reposition and all that, I guess we picked up a pot just as we turned on the motor. As soon as he turned it on, we felt a clunk and we turned it off right away, but it was already too late. So we knew that we picked something up, but it was still pretty dark. So I guess it was hard to see where we were and we just didn't see it. So now we are bobbing here. It's not particularly bright enough yet to be able to just jump in and see, to be able to cut it off. We don't have cutters in our propeller. Travis is already under the weather. The water isn't particularly warm. The wetsuits that we have are only 3 mils. So yeah, no wind right now, luckily no waves, so we're just kind of bobbing here, but there is a current. It wouldn't exactly be the best for us to kind of just sit here and wait for daylight. The sun probably won't come out for, I don't even know what time it is, a while. At least 3 hours, I think, before we get enough light where it would illuminate underwater. We're gonna try to get a light underwater, a dive light. I don't even know if we have a dive light. We had a dive light and it broke, so we'll have to figure something out, but I think Travis is pulling out his wetsuit and he's going to jump in.
Not happy. Gotta drop the dinghy too.
You're gonna put your strong light that's not an underwater light into that case?
See if it works.
I don't know how good that case is though.
I have a migraine of a headache. It's gonna suck. I'm not happy. So I'm gonna trail a rope around my body just in case the current takes me off. And hopefully it doesn't get caught and I get stuck down there.
I'd say that.
Like I don't even have warm water to run into. Can you give me a towel, Freddie? If you can't tell, I'm really not happy. I was warm in bed. It's comfortable. Well, looking at that buoy right behind us, we haven't moved.
You might still be attached to it. That's pretty. You turned on the hot water heater, the water heater. So by the time you come up, you should have warm water to hose off with.
Running right to the shower.
What the heck? Okay, so you just put that rope in and now it's stuck? What is it stuck to?
Oh my. mess than what we had.
What, this rope is more of a mess than the trap was?
Yeah.
Hold on.
See?
It's on your snorkel. He's so bad. Oh. Good job, though. That was quick. At least you didn't have to go in for very long.
Just the ball got wound up. It didn't wind up on the propeller. Literally, the ball, we got in there and it went through the pellet and then the ball just jammed. Like,
Oh, that's probably why we
blade.
did that thunk like right away.
Yeah, it was like dunk, dunk, dunk. So then now we're drifting by it.
Okay, well, I didn't even see that big orange thing.
I'm just glad I didn't struggle with it.
Yeah.
Like, it was pretty decent, just up. Alright. Can you turn the motor on?
We are successfully tied up at our slip. There is no anchoring permitted inside the harbor. You can only anchor outside, which is a very far dinghy ride. And there are mooring balls here, but they're only for their yacht club members. So the only option is to pick up a berthing for the nights that we're here. So we're gonna stay a couple of nights here. It was a little nerve-wracking coming into the slip because we have not been at a marina or tied up since Puerto Rico, that little mishap there, but we didn't even drive our own boat into that slip. So it's been quite a while, and there were gusts of wind 18 to 20. So it was howling. It's still howling right now, actually. But fortunately, we did turn into the slip when it simmered down a little bit, and Travis did a great job. We had a very friendly guy at the harbor come guide us in, help us with lines and whatnot as well. The only thing though is we had some really crappy fenders. We thought it was a good idea before when we found them in, I think Martinique, we found them. They inflate, and we figured, oh great, like fenders take up so much room in our lockers, and the inflatable ones would be just great to stow away, and we just inflate them really quickly before we ever need them. But nope, they were just flapping in the wind, and they were actually coming up right onto the deck of the boat. So those are a no-go.
They're good if you want to go to a gas dock and like grab gas, because I thought 98%, 99% would just be anchoring. That'd be a gas dock, but now that I have to actually use it, I'm like, I don't trust them.
No, we'll have to dig up our regular fenders from the pits of our lockers for future use. Yeah, really excited to be here. It's the biggest marina in Ireland, I believe, and it is really easily accessible by train to get to Dublin, which is primarily why we wanted to come here, so that we could make our way into the capital of Ireland. So yeah, we're gonna get all settled in, go check in at the marina office, and probably just lay low for the rest of the day. Travis is still feeling a little under the weather, and then head on in to Dublin tomorrow.